Morning folks, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. Back in another series, Gear of the 20th Century Woodsman. We have skipped around a little bit with gear. We've talked about knives, axes, cooking implements. We've talked about lighting and things like that. And I want to keep going with that. And we'll come back to some of those items because I have lots and lots of things that I want to go over with you. I'm just trying not to do two items in the same category in a row. So today, we're going to talk about backpacks.
Hey, I'm living good. Back in the woods.
Okay, and this is the Trapper Nelson pack frame, or Alaskan pack frame, and the Trapper Nelson backpack. And we're going to look through this thing really quick and see the different features that were developed when this pack was made. But in 1920, Lloyd Nelson had taken a trip to Alaska, and he had borrowed an Inuit pack frame for his trip, which was made with sticks and sealskin, probably similar to some of the bushcraft frames that we see today, most likely a ladder back style frame. When he returned from that trip, he decided that that pack was so uncomfortable that he was going to design something better for hunters and trappers. And in 1922, he developed or registered the patent for the Trapper Nelson pack frame. And so let's talk about that today. Stay with me. Okay, so here's a pretty good look at a Trapper Nelson pack frame. This would still be a usable backpack today. Now, one thing that you can see on the bottom of this frame is basically there's just clips and like saddle rings, D-rings from like tack that hook into that. And the only thing with that is they're a little fiddly to get right. But it would hook in here so that it was easy for you to be able to get this pack on and off. All you'd have to do is drop one out of a clip and you could sling it off to one shoulder. One clip was generally a little tighter than the other side. And then you had adjustments on the strap itself. I think that guys of this time period, well, I know for a fact, guys of this time period were a little smaller in stature. If you look at uniforms and things like that from back in World War I, even into World War II, and clear back into the Civil War, the uniforms and things are very small. You wouldn't think they'd fit anybody that was over the age of about 14 today. And this pack is really no different. This pack frame is stretched out completely as far as how big these straps will get. And the thing would barely fit me with just a light shirt on, let alone if I were wearing some type of outerwear, like a wool shirt or a wool garment. Okay, so like I said, I'm wearing just a t-shirt and a flannel. And I've got these straps adjusted all the way out, and it barely fits on me. It barely fits. If I had anything else on underneath this, it would not fit. So bear that in mind if you're going to buy one of these backpacks for yourself. You may have to make some modifications to the straps in order to be able to use it, unless you're just buying it to hang on the wall. So they do run a little bit small, that's for sure. Now, let's talk a little bit about the pack frame itself. The pack is just a large bucket style pack. And reading Horace Kephart's book, Camping and Woodcraft, he differentiates the word knapsack and pack sack. And he describes a knapsack as being something that would hold bits and bobs of your gear, basically, with your sleeping arrangements strapped or wrapped around the outside or a bedroll attached to the bottom. Whereas a pack sack would hold the entire contents of the traveler's kit. This was designed to be a pack sack. It's got a large bucket style pack in it that you could put lots and lots of gear in. And it has one pocket on the front that you could put things that you needed to get ready access to. And it had a large flap with some adjustment if you made this thing really big and had it filled up. It also had a tie strap on it here that you could run through a couple loops here and here and tie them together to hold everything shut and cinch it up tight if that's what you chose to do before you put the flap over on top of it like this. So that's the pack itself. But really the innovative part of this whole system is the frame. And the way this thing was made, it was made to be two separate pieces where the pack came off the frame. So let's talk about that. Okay, so the way this pack is attached to the frame is, it basically has grommets in the pack that go over the top of eyelets on the frame, and this one's just got an extra stay in it. They generally came with one stay per side. Again, this one's just got an extra. And then you could remove this pack completely from the pack board, just like this, so that it could be washed and maintained. Let's take the other side off, because this pack frame itself is really the meat and potatoes, I think, of the whole Trapper Nelson system. So there's the pack, can be completely taken off, maintained, washed, repaired, whatever the case may be, and you're left with the frame. Now, the frame of this pack really was the innovative feature, because making a frame that was comfortable to carry was his entire intent. So what he did was he took an oak frame and he bent the components so that there was airspace trapped in between if he wrapped it in canvas. And you can see this is just wrapped in a piece of canvas, and it's laced up just like a boot here to draw it tight. And you can see where over time things have ripped and things like that when it's been put on and taken off. It's all character added. And then it has a metal stay rod here in the center. And your straps are basically just nailed to the frame with a couple of nails. They wrap around the front side and they're nailed again, and then you have the straps coming through the bottom or the back side of the canvas here, where you have the label that says Trapper Nelson. So what this did was it allowed you to have a piece of canvas here and gave you airspace between the actual pack itself and the load and your back, so that you had air traveling up in between this pack frame to keep you from getting so hot. Now, you had some absorbency here. You had issues with this being against your back, and it would make you sweat. But again, evaporative cooling took place because you had an airspace here. And that was really the innovative part of this frame and this system that really had not been used or manufactured commercially for the hunter or the sportsman up to this point when he made this pack frame. It's a very simple system. It's a little bit difficult to recreate in that you have to steam bend or heat bend these boards. I have reproduced one of these, and I have a video on that on my YouTube channel. But I think it is well worth talking about this system of the Trapper Nelson, because it was a very innovative system for its time. Again, it was created very similar to something that had been used by Nelson when he was traveling with the Inuit in Alaska. So it is taken from a Native American style frame. And if you kind of look back on that even further and you look at the artifacts in the Otzi collection where Otzi was found, he had a wooden pack frame as well with just a large bucket style skin backpack that was attached to it. All right, guys, well, I appreciate you joining for this video today. I thank you for your views. I thank you for your support. I thank you for everything that you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I will be back with another video shortly. I have to leave to go down south tomorrow. I'll be in the Bahamas as well as Florida teaching over the next several days. When I return, I will get some more videos up in this series. I'll try to get some videos shot while I'm down south and maybe on the islands as well to put a spur of the moment type video up on YouTube if I can. If not, we'll get back with this series as soon as I return. Thanks, guys.